With this particular Year 7 class, I had 2 students who had hearing impairments, both using a personal FM system. This required me to use a microphone in order for them to hear my instruction. During my time with this class, both of the students did not like wearing the FM system during PE practicals, as it usually got in the way when they were running around, and there was often interference from the environmental factors outside, such as the wind. For me, as a teacher, this was a challenge, as I knew that 2 of my students in the class were unable to hear my instructions on the field. This was evident when they were practicing, as they were usually unaware and unengaged with the lesson. To eliminate this inequality within my class, I decided to start using a mini whiteboard to visually demonstrate my instructions when outside on the field. I found this strategy to be extremely successful, as these 2 students really benefited from the clear diagrams and symbols that I was able to demonstrate to them on the whiteboard. Interestingly enough, I also noticed that using the whiteboards was beneficial to not only the students with a hearing impairment, but for the rest of my class. It provided them with something to focus on whilst I was speaking, rather than being distracted by what was occurring around them. It also aided my explanations, as I could draw potential game-like scenarios to demonstrate different tactics that could be put into play.
Can we see this white cone here? This is the cone which is right here on the field. So can everyone see the board? Yeah. There's 3 cones placed behind the cone like this, and everyone else will be lining up behind here. On my whistle, the first 2 attackers, which are over here, so 2 people will run in. 1 and 2. Okay? They have to run up to this cone. Why do you think they have to run up to that cone? Lachlan?
To get the ball.
The balls are sitting here, so they'll have a ball in their hand already. Calvin?
It gives the defenders a good chance to get close to them.
Good. So, on my whistle, 2 attackers run, and we'll have 1 defender running. Okay? Once the attackers get to this line, then they can start to go for the lines, because they're a bit shorter here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why do you think we'll have 2 attackers and only 1 defender? Hands up. Yeah.
So that they can score and sort of
Yeah. So if we've got 2 people here, and say player 2 starts with the ball, what's player 2's options?
They
Calvin?
can either try to score or they can pass it back to player 1.
Good. So if he has a free shot here, he might be able to run in, but he's got another player, so he might be able to run in or pass it over, and the other player can score. So what are some tactics that the attacking team can try and do to get that try? Hands up. What we're going to do to the defender. To the defender. So I've got me and somebody else here attacking. 1 defender. What can we do to that defender to try and score? With hands up.
Throw the defender out into one of the goals and then pass it over to number 1 just before the defender catches you so he can go to the other one.
Yeah, so we might want to draw him in. So Calvin, jump up. Gang, jump up. I've got the ball and Calvin is my defender. So I've got the ball, he's coming to tag me. I can draw him in, pass it off, and she has a free run to try. So let's see if we can try and use that tactic to score as many tries as we can. Alrighty? Does anyone have any questions? No? Want to get in and play? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to give you a bib. I want anyone with a red bib to line up behind the red cone. Anyone with a green bib to line up behind the 3 cones there sitting down. Okay? I strategically hand out the bibs according to my knowledge of student skill and ability levels. By doing this, I am able to group students with similar ability and skill levels together to allow for maximum effort, skill execution, and to provide challenging game-like situations for my students. For this Year 7 class, this was the first time playing touch football for most students. I chose to work as a whole class to benefit those who were new to the game, as they were able to observe and learn off their peers. Also, when questions were asked, all students were able to listen, respond, and engage in discussion. By commencing this game in a large group, all students are able to observe each other as they have their turn to participate. I would only do this for a few minutes to ensure that all students are able to grasp and understand how the game works. After a short period of time, I would divide students up into 3 smaller groups where they can continue to play the same game, which will increase the amount of physical active participation that they each have.
Boys, I'm waiting. Boys at the back, are we watching? Alright, so how many tackers are running out? 2. How many defenders are running out? 1. Alright, let's go.
Whilst the students are engaged in the game, I continually provide them with constructive feedback on their performance and skill acquisition. I frequently praise students for good skill execution, as well as teamwork and communication with their teams. I do this to encourage my students to have a go and to allow them to feel comfortable to fully immerse themselves into the games during PE.